Now it is time for us to learn a new and very crucial concept called opportunity cost. Your textbook will tell you that choice depends on opportunity cost. What does that mean? It means that whenever you choose something, you also give up something else. There is a saying in economics, to choose is to lose. What do you lose when you choose? What does that mean now, right? Take the earlier example we used about your pocket money. Suppose you had only 500 rupees pocket money left. You can either watch a movie or buy a t-shirt. What will you do? You have to choose. If you choose the t-shirt, then what did you lose? The movie. If you chose the movie, then what did you lose? The t-shirt. Either way, you give up or you lose something. That is the opportunity cost of your choice. The next best thing you could have done with the resource, money or time that you have. Again, let's have the full definition of this concept. Don't by heart, but understand and remember it in the same language if possible for your exams and for teachers like Virus. Opportunity cost, the benefit, profit or value of something that a person could have received but gave up to acquire or achieve something else. Since every resource, land, money, time, etc. can be put to alternative uses, every action, choice or decision has an associated opportunity cost. That's a good, easy definition. But to help you fully grasp it, let's discuss a story. It'll help me explain the idea of opportunity cost in more detail and also introduce us to another important concept called PPF. Economists, as we know, like to simplify things so as to understand better. Just like how we simplified human beings to Homo economicus. As we said, we have to simplify reality to understand it. The same way we make maps to understand and navigate a place by simplifying it. As long as the simplified model works and helps us find our way, it is fine. Such simplified versions of reality are called models in economics. Economic models. How can we define that? An economic model is a simplified version of reality that allows us to observe, understand and make predictions about economic behavior. So let's simplify the world. You must have heard the story of Robinson Crusoe. Crusoe went on a voyage and crashed on an island. Everyone else died in the crash. He was all alone there, etc. Why do we use this sad story as a model to understand economics? Because we have a perfect little simple economy here. Only one producer, only one consumer, and there are only two goods and only one resource, his time. Real world is sometimes too complex for us to identify simple transactions, since everything we do is so interconnected. So we simplify, so that we can focus on these things without all those complications. That's why it's a perfect story for us. Very few options for Crusoe here in this example. He can either spend his resource, which is his time, or waste it. Basically, idle around. If he decides to use it, he can spend his time on two options, fishes or coconuts. That's it. Only two choices. If he spends all his time on fish, then let's say he can catch 4 fish per day. But he can't have any coconuts then. If he spends all his time on coconuts, then maybe he can get 10 coconuts, but then there won't be any fish. Let's make a table for this and let's see how it might look. So, if he gets 9 coconuts, he'll have time to catch 1 fish. Similarly, for 7 coconuts, he'll have 2 fishes. With 4 coconuts, 3 fishes. And finally, if he spends all his time on fishes, then no coconuts and 4 fishes. This is called a production possibility set. It shows all the possibilities for production in the economy. Now that we have the production possibility set, let's bring our first graph into the story. I'll explain the graph to you first. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So on the x-axis, we have the number of coconuts and on the y-axis, we have the number of fishes. Now let's bring our production possibility set onto this and plot those points onto this graph. Then what we get is the first point, which is the point Crusoe would achieve if he spends all his time on coconuts, which is point 10,0 here, which is 10 coconuts and 0 fishes. Let's go back to the origin now and let's look at the y-axis. Along the y-axis, we reach a new point, which is point 0,4, which is the number of fishes which Crusoe can achieve if he spends all his time on fishes. Now again, we'll go back to the origin now and we look at the rest of the points as well. So let's bring all the points into the graph now. We have 10,0 here, we have 9,1 here, we have 7,2 here, 4,3 here and 0,4 here. And when we join them all together, we get a curve. And this curve is called the production possibilities frontier. Let's go back and define this production possibilities frontier now. We can now have a simpler definition. Opportunity cost is the highest valued alternative that is given up whenever any choice is made. Now, if you remember, we chose this example because the island economy is a model for us. A model to show us how a real, complicated economy will work. Here, Crusoe has to give up coconuts if he wants to produce and thus consume more fishes. There is an opportunity cost to having more fishes or having more coconuts or for any such choice of production or consumption. In the same way, every economy has to choose from its production possibility set. In other words, we can say that a central problem of the economy is to choose from the many production possibilities, just like poor Crusoe has to choose. And which point Crusoe or the economy chooses in that line is a matter of preference, which is what we learn a bit later in this chapter. But any point above the PPF line, as we saw, is not possible, and anything below is not efficient. That is very important to understand. These points are unattainable by Crusoe or the economy, and these would mean it is inefficient. Now, keeping all this in mind, where do you think Indian economy is at today? Discuss with your friends and try to arrive at a conclusion. We'll come back to Crusoe in his island later to explain various concepts like comparative advantage, world trade, origins of money, etc. But for now, let's get a rescue team here and get Robinson Crusoe back to civilization, where the rest of our story will happen.